Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. You are listening to Gnostic Studies. And today we're going to continue our Gnostic Astrology series with Leo. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comments area. We normally would do a review of the previous class, but the previous class in this case was just a meditation. So we're just going to jump right into it. This is the Leo chapter, or it was a letter, I guess, when it was originally given. A correspondence course that you would receive each month in the mail. And this one from 1930s. If you were a Spanish reader and you were in Central or South America. From our good friend Arnoldo Krumheller, aka Huiracocha. So he says, "Dear disciple, in the ancient initiations, one had to suffer the ordeal of water under the sign of Cancer, the ordeal of fire under Leo, that of the earth under Taurus, and that of air under Gemini." So, ancient initiations worked with the four elements, and there were different ordeals related with the four elements. So if we look over here at a table that has the zodiacal signs on the outside, and in the center it has the planets, then he said that earth is related with Taurus, air with Gemini, water with Cancer, and then fire with Leo. So for 3 months and then the current month, we would have been passing through these different ordeals. Now we're at the final one, which is the one of Leo, the one of fire. The disciple lived and lives in Leo, redemption. It is for this reason that the Redeemer is always the son or child of the sun, S-U-N. If the radiant star principle awakened the fire with Aries, now it verifies the transmutation of that fire in all that exists by maturing the seeds in Leo. It is the same in us, but for this purpose it is necessary for the mirages of the imagination and the pictures of fantasy to be burned and to be destroyed, so as to awaken the true personality of our inner being, so that we can intuitively create. In the sign of Leo, the sun is encountered at its center, projecting its influence with all its vigor, and it is the cause of what would not be possible to do by suddenly exposing man in his physical life to the energy of this fiery star. The cosmic forces, the current of light, increases little by little, starting with Aries, followed by Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, until reaching Leo, where the great work is realized. So he's saying, right, starting with Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, that the fire, the light, is increasing because the sun is getting warmer in the northern hemisphere, or the days are getting longer, and it's getting hotter. And then pretty much is the hottest, not everywhere, but in many places, in later October or later August, which is included in Leo. And he says, until reaching Leo, where the great work is realized. Up to this point, all the elements have been brought together in order for this astral combustion to which we are referring to occur. And from then on, it begins going downwards with the work of discarding the useless, of cleaning the underworld, and of spewing out the slag. Slag is the leftover when you cook metal, and there's like residue. It's like the leftover. What isn't pure metal. In the Egyptian Arcanum 11, the bound or tamed lion, courage or persuasion, a smiling woman opens the jaws of a lion with gentle hands. That is to say, effort is not required for an extraordinary power, as if it were the symbol of omnipotence in the conquest of the animal nature. So let's remember that she's opening a lion, and lion symbolizes fire. So Arcanum 11, the woman is controlling the fire, controlling the animal nature. Yin controlling yang. Consciously, then, the disciples should approach this moment by looking for initiation within themselves, because it is the sun within ourselves, in one's energetic current, that offers this to us. What is the sun within ourselves? He'll probably say it a little later, but just checking if you guys know. The different colored rays that we speak of in the Rosicrucian doctrine may penetrate into us, all flowing towards a center where it seems to nourish itself. Starting from there, only one color, that of orange gold, from where it passes through our vertebral column and finally comes to concentrate itself in the heart, the center of all light. During winter in the northern hemisphere, the sun is closer to the earth, and yet we know that its influence is less pronounced, even though it should be the opposite. It changes in the summer, when it is furthest away from us, when it is most active, and when more impulses also come to us from the other planets. Everything breathes. He mentions this also in his book, Logos Mantra Magic. Everything breathes. This is what puts the earth into its constant rhythm like a recumbent llama. And we not only breathe through the lungs, but every pore is also an airway in constant activity with which we inhale oxygen and we exhale carbon. The sun, in its turn, inspirates spiritual force while exhaling light and heat. So the sun takes in spiritual force and exhales light and heat. We will see much later that the solar plexus breathes this same light and heat while expelling magnetism. We have already passed from imagination to inspiration. And so now let us assume that the practices and meditations of the previous letters have awakened these faculties. The sun now has intuition. Into. In almost all dialects, these radicals indicate something within, something interior. And for us, it indicates concentration. And when men, through their calculations and wisdom, can no longer progress, then the final key, intuition, is presented to them, which is the spiritual center of instinct. And then, just like how the material impulse in all animals gives them legitimate direction, intuition is the only way that the right path can be indicated to us. Intuition extracts its forces from the body, soul, and spirit. And like everything in nature, which is intuitively conscious, man is put into contact with the great all through his breathing. So breath in its turn is luck, what gives us our fortune. Rama Prasad has said, "He who breathes has luck." We have said many times that it is not the planets themselves nor the zodiacal signs which are important, but the forces that radiate from the planets, suns, or stars, and come to transform themselves into the signs of the zodiac. We have also spoken of the macrocosmos of Adam Kadmon, in whom the great all has the figure of the human being. And now we add that if we look from a suitable distance at our planetary system, we will see the same figure of Adam Kadmon, with the heart of our solar system being, with the heart of our system being Leo, just as it is our heart, which is the central point of the organism. This is why only the forces of the sun can act here precisely in Leo. The evangelists, that is, those who wrote the Gospels, are represented by 4 Kabbalistic figures. Mark preserves the figure of Leo, the lion. Mark, according to legend, was a painter, and the painter is the artist who, having imagined a picture, gives way to inspiration. But this picture was already latent in the soul through intuition. From here we can see that they are all. From here we can see that they are all in direct relation to each other. Leo, Mark, and intuition. In Leo we touch the solar sphere of the cosmic Christ, this being the sign opposed or opposite to Aquarius, because Leo is opposite to Aquarius. For this reason, Mark proposed that baptism be done with fire instead of being done with water. And this fire is none other than what can be seen in the central sun acting in Leo. This same sign, understood as the heart of the cosmic rhythm, is what leads the sun to boil the juice or sap of plants and converts the water into wine, symbolized at the wedding of Canaan. The Gnostic Church teaches the mystery of the bread and the wine. The grains contained in bread were grown and matured through the solar force, and wine made from grapes that grew on the vine were developed and transformed in order to be consumed together in the holy Eucharistic unction. "This is my body, the bread, and this is my blood, the wine," is said in the sacred rites of all religions, and they are taken together. In a similar way, our solid part and the liquid that we carry within have been transformed through the lymph system, through the organic sun, that is to say, the heart chakra, which forms and transforms everything within our organism. At the core of each seed, there is some sun, and therefore we call this life, because life comes from the sun, but not the planet, rather the radiant living light which manifests itself and expresses itself through the sun. Gnostics know this force as the Christonic Force, because the word Christ, from the Greek, means not only anointed, but also light, as well as redeemer. And it is the Christic or Christonic force that redeems us from within, that we save and we sublimate when the vibrations of Leo are connected in our heart with those of the Leo heart of our planetary system, that is to say, the central sun, the Father. The polarity established in the cosmos is already made manifest through the solar and lunar forces, the left and right sides. And it is curious that the optic nerve is formed in a cross. The right side of the body obeys the left side of the brain and vice versa. So it is not unusual that while the heart is located in the left side of the body, the pranic force of Leo penetrates through the right nostril of the nose. When the permutation of gold is done, the angel accompanies us to the magic figure of Leo. And then we feel that the sun is a living creature, a spirit that radiates from the primeval force from which we live, gestate, flower, fruit, enrich, enable, brighten, succeed, and refresh ourselves. All these concepts are exponents of the sun. And when this consciously thinking energy penetrates through the right nostril with the Christonic forces, then we can capture the realization of all these exponents within ourselves. It is, however, indispensable that the exercises be done with consciousness. Before the universal force acts in us with the final practice in the lymph system and then transforms into blood, thanks to the contact of the solar force, like how chlorophyll is formed in plants. Our personality resides in the sun, and to catch this instant, we must leave all our glands behind, because we've been working with the glands before now, and concentrate ourselves only upon the heart, so that this force, which we have descended from the epiphysis or pineal gland, hypophysis or pituitary gland, thyroid, epithelial bodies or parathyroid glands, and thymus gland, reach the formation of a septenary, since there exists an immense secret that we cannot disclose in the 7 planets and the 7 glands culminating in the sun. Now, when we pass on to the runes and to their practices, we will be able to comprehend this mystery. In the heart, one cannot act with gymnastic exercises, instead, with prayer and breathing every morning, one can try to cover the left nostril and fill the chest with air. So he's saying block the left nostril so you're only breathing through the right nostril. We have to think that this air is not going to the lungs, but mentally we're sending it to the heart, so that it acts there for transformation, for spiritual combustion, which physically becomes the blood in the lungs. We should also think, while doing this exercise, that we are being inundated by the sun with Psalm 39 verses 4, 8, and 20, when it says, God, convert us, show us your face, and we will be saved. The face of God is the spiritual sun, and its force is the only thing that can save us from the obstacles in order to give us initiation. It's interesting that this reminds me of, it's either Arcanum 19 or 20 of Tarot and Kabbalah, where Samael Veor says that the human being is dead and can only revive or resurrect through cosmic initiation. It might be 20, which I believe is that the card of the sun? It may be. All right, well, that's the end of the letter, the material we wanted to read. We can do a quick practice here, but we want to open it up for questions and comments if you have any. No, it looks like the sun is 19. All right, well, no questions or comments at this time. So if you do have some submitted, because there's definitely a lag between when we see them and when you guys submit them, we're going to jump into the practice. So if you do submit them, then just give it some time. We can respond after the practice. But for now, let's find a comfortable position. If we need to grab some water or adjust our clothing, maybe take off our shoes. Whatever it is we need to do to move into a comfortable position. And then we'll continue reading here. Huiracocha's practices for Leo. He says, it is indispensable that the exercises be done with consciousness. Before the universal force acts in us with the final practice in the lymph system, and then transforms into blood thanks to the contact of the solar force. To take advantage of this instant, we must leave all our glands behind and concentrate ourselves only upon the heart. So let's start by concentrating on the heart. In this way, the force which we have descended from the pineal gland to the pituitary gland to the thyroid to the parathyroid glands and to the thymus, right? Going from the head to the throat to the upper part of the chest to the center of the chest. Now we're going to move it into the heart. He says it reaches the formation of a septenary, which is 7, right? So he's got 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the heart is 6. And my guess is he's talking about the reproductive glands, the creative organs. And those associated glands is the 7th. Since there exists an immense secret in the 7 planets and the 7 glands, culminating in the sun. Since the right side of the body obeys the left side of the brain and vice versa, it is not unusual that while the heart is located on the left side of the body, the pranic force of Leo penetrates through the right nostril. In the heart, one cannot act with gymnastic exercises, but instead with prayer and breathing every morning. We can try to cover the left nostril, so we're only breathing in through the right nostril. And fill the chest with air. We have to think that this air is not going to the lungs, but mentally we're sending it to the heart, so that it acts there for transformation, for spiritual combustion, which physically becomes the blood in the lungs. Because the blood is sent from the heart to the lungs, and then back to the heart, and then circulates around the body. We should also think while doing this exercise that we are being inundated by the sun And with Psalm 80, verses 3, 7, and 19, let's see. Yeah, it says 39, but probably that was a typo because these verses had to be looked up so that we could have them there. The face of God is the spiritual sun. Hold on. So we should think while doing this exercise that we are being inundated by the sun with Psalm 80, verses 3, 7, and 19, when it says, God, convert us, show us your face, and we will be saved. The face of God is the spiritual sun, and its force is the only thing that can save us from obstacles in order to give us initiation. So after we do the practice, we'll jump into a vocalization for a few moments. But you got the summary of the practice on the screen. It's also available in the handout. So we're going to breathe through the right nostril, closing the left. While we do that, we imagine that the air is going in through the nostril, down, and entering into the heart. You may want to blow your nose if your nose feels blocked so that you can do this practice. So let's block the left nostril so that we're breathing through the right. In the words below, in the Psalms below, we also have in parentheses there the Hebrew names in the Psalms. If you want to say those, you can say those, or you can just say the regular English. So we block the nose, the left nostril of the nose, and we inhale through the right, and we imagine that the energy that we've accumulated is being sent to the heart. All right, so let me read these Psalms to you while we're doing that. Continue to imagine the air entering through the right nostril and going directly into the heart. We can concentrate on the Psalms. Convert us, O God, Elohim, and show us thy face, and we shall be saved. O God of hosts, Elohim Tzabaoth, convert us and show thy face, and we shall be saved. O Lord God of hosts, Adonai Elohim Tzabaoth, convert us and show thy face, and we shall be saved. So again, trying to concentrate on sending the air directly to the heart. We block the left nostril and inhale through the right. All right. Now we're going to move into the vocalization of the vowel O, which corresponds to the heart and with intuition. You can always do a pranayama if you prefer to do that. Before we begin, or when you're doing this on your own. So now we'll just do about 10 minutes of vocalization with O while concentrating on the heart in our physical body. So we want to put aside all the thoughts of the day. We'll be there when we get back, but for now we need to concentrate on what we're doing so we can have a good practice. Bringing our attention to our heart. I'm going to inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Pronounce the vowel O. And when we reach the 10-minute mark, I'll say 3 more times, and we'll each do it at our own pace 3 more times. And then we'll sit quietly for a few minutes. You may begin whenever you're ready. Oh. Let's do 3 more times. let's just sit quietly. Let's take a few breaths. Start bringing ourselves back. And if we so wish, we can pray, thanking our inner divinity for the help, protection, and assistance that we received. And whenever we feel ready, we bring ourselves back to the room, opening our eyes and bringing the practice to a close. So, that's the material we wanted to cover today. Hopefully you had a good practice. We encourage you to work with the O vowel throughout this month. It's a very good time to take advantage of the astrological influences related with being able to listen to our heart and hear the hunches or intuition that's coming to us through our heart, so that we can develop that relationship with our inner divinity. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them. In the meantime, we want to invite you to next week's class. And at the same time, we'll be reading the Zodiacal Course of Samael and Veor. But it doesn't look like there's any more questions or comments at this time, so we're going to cut it there. But thank you for participating, and until next time.